My name is Luke Simons. I am a graduate student at East Carolina University, and I have been working with the Coastal Studies Institute on research for my master's thesis. Early in 1862, a campaign called the Burnside Expedition was planned. It was named after General Ambrose Burnside, who was in charge of it. What it was a joint Army-Navy expedition between Ambrose Burnside and Louis Goldsborough. The plan was to come down south from Fort Monroe in Virginia, go through Hatteras Inlet, and basically take all of the sounds of North Carolina. Now, the Battle of Roanoke Island was the first major battle within this campaign. So in January of 1862, they crossed through Hatteras Inlet and went north to Roanoke Island. On February 7th, the Union Navy vessels went north up into Croatan Sound and started bombarding one of the Confederate forts that was on the island. While they were doing this, Union Army vessels came north and landed 10,000 troops at Ashby's Harbor. The next day, the Union troops moved north to capture the 3 Confederate forts that were on Roanoke Island, while the Union Navy continued to bombard the forts to provide cover for them. Before the Union arrived, the Confederates had done a number of things to help defend the island. There were 3 forts on Roanoke Island itself, also one at Redstone Point across Croatan Sound. In addition to these, they had also sunk some old schooners in the channel in Croatan Sound and driven a bunch of pilings in to try and stop the Union from coming too far north. The Confederates were really worried that the Union would come around to the north end of the island and land their troops up there, or even go all the way up to Norfolk through the Dismal Swamp Canal. My research has been twofold in that we've both been looking at the battle historically and also archaeologically. Historically, I've been trying to focus on human decision-making within combat. And a big aspect of that is a military theory known as KAKOA, which is a way of looking at the terrain of a battlefield and how the aspects of a terrain affect the decisions that someone makes when they're in a battle. If there's a gigantic hill over here, someone is going to want to be on the top of it because that's a better place to be. A big part of that with Roanoke Island has been looking at historic maps of the area to try and figure out how the landscape has changed since 1862 when the battle took place. So what I've been doing is taking old maps of this, mostly US Coast Survey charts, putting them into a program called ArcGIS and rectifying them with modern maps so that I can show where things haven't changed, where things have changed. In addition to that, we have been looking for archaeological remains from the battle. In particular, we have been looking for the ships that the Confederates sunk to block their channel. Working with CSI, we've been doing side-scan sonar surveys to try and map out where these shipwrecks have been. So far, we've been unsuccessful in locating them, but we plan to go out more in the following months to look for them again. So the equipment you see behind me is a Klein 3000H high-resolution sonar fish. What it does is it captures sonar images of the seafloor at 450 and 900 kilohertz, which is very high resolution. So we can get really good images of what is down there and be able to tell really well what we're looking at. Now, although we haven't found any archaeological remains from the battle yet, it is just as important to know where archaeological remains are not in an area as where they are, because that lets me know where the battle was taking place. If I don't see archaeological remains in an area, that means the battle is not taking place there and I should be looking somewhere else. I hope that the research that I've been doing here with CSI will help the state of North Carolina better manage the cultural resources of this region so that they can be preserved for future generations.